The Copper Age game drop is finally here, bringing a bunch of new features to the game like the Copper Golem, new copper drops, and more. In today's hardcore survival episode, we're going to be checking out all the new features, so stick around to the end of the video so you don't miss everything we get up to. But first, let's get started by doing what we always do at the start of each episode and take a look at our goals for today. So goal number 1 is to stock up on as much copper as we can find so we can make all the new copper blocks and items. Our second goal is to create our first Copper Golem in this world and check out all the new features that were added in the copper update. And finally, goal number 3 is to build a new storage building where we'll use copper golems to sort out all of our items. So now we know our goals for today, let's get straight to work and find ourselves some copper. So I'm back from the caves and I spent around 20 minutes mining for as much copper as I could. I went around a few caves I've already explored to see if I could pick up some copper that I'd left behind. And if we look inside this shulker box right here, we should have plenty of copper to craft all the new copper blocks and of course a bunch of copper golems. But anyway, I'm going to get all this smelted up and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, so all the copper has now been smelted and now we can get to work crafting all the new copper blocks and items. So I think we'll start off by making the new copper armor and tools. So now we've got all of the copper armor and tools smelted, let's put on the copper armor for the very first time. And now we are fully dripped out in all of the new copper stuff. So in terms of the design, I like the orange colour a lot, and it's a lot different to all the other armor types we have in the games. But maybe I'm just biased because, you know, it's orange. But one thing I will say is that I wish the tools and armor would slowly oxidize over time like the copper blocks do, and maybe it could be tied to durability. I think that'd be a really cool and unique feature. But in terms of its function, the copper armor set is right in the middle of leather and iron, and the tools are right in the middle of stone and iron. So it's got slightly more durability and mining speed than stone, but slightly less than iron, so it's perfect for the early game going into your first cave to get enough iron to upgrade to the iron armor and tools. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the copper armor and tools. I think I'm going to keep the copper armor on for the rest of this video as a fun little challenge to test how good it actually is. But anyway, let's move on and craft up all the new copper blocks that were also added. So all of the copper blocks have now been crafted, and as you can see in my hotbar, we've got copper bars, chains, lanterns, chests, torches, and the lightning rod, which was already in the game but has been updated, so we'll get to that in a moment. But let's get all of these placed down so we can get a better look at them. So this is what all the copper blocks look like when they're placed down, and you're probably wondering why I'm on 4 hearts. And that is because I had a bit of a run-in with a zombified piglin that came through my nether portal back there. And it hit me once and did 6 hearts of damage with this copper armor on. So if you are thinking of going to the nether, I would definitely recommend not wearing copper armor, because as you can see, it won't protect you very well from zombified piglins. But anyway, while we're regenerating our hearts, let's take a look at all of the copper blocks. So the first one we have is the copper bars, and I'm not sure what's going on here, but there is a little bit of a texture glitch going on with Vibrant Visuals. They look a little bit more like a mix between iron bars and copper bars than just copper bars, but hopefully that'll be fixed in a future update. Next we have the copper chains, which there isn't much to say about these, they are just retextures of the regular iron chain that was added in the Nether update. And then we've got the copper lanterns and torches, which are slightly different because they have a green glow to them instead of the normal yellow glow. Next we've got the copper chest, which is the first variant of the regular chest that we've had since the trap chest, which was years ago. So they do just look like a regular chest, but obviously a lot more coppery. And if we take one away here, you can see that it's actually got a unique design on the top, which looks really cool. And it even has its own opening and closing sound, so just take a listen to this. The copper chest will be useful later when we take a look at the new mob that's been added in this update, which you will probably know as the Copper Golem. And finally we have the lightning rod. Now these were added all the way back in 1.17 when copper was first introduced to the game, but they've now been updated because they can now oxidize like the rest of the copper blocks. They never used to be able to do that when they were first added. So I think it's really cool that they've gone back and thought about the lightning rod and updated it to be in line with all the rest of the copper blocks. So that's just about it for all of the copper blocks that have been added in this update, and I think I'm going to leave all of these blocks out here to oxidize, and hopefully by the end of the video we will have all 4 stages of these copper blocks to show off. But anyway, let's move on and talk about the main feature of this update, which is of course the Copper Golem. So to get yourself a Copper Golem, you're going to want to find yourself a pumpkin and carve it, which is kind of fitting considering it's October and it's nearly Halloween. And once you've got yourself a carved pumpkin, you're going to want to place down a copper block and put the carved pumpkin on the top. And you will get yourself a Copper Golem friend and a copper chest. And as you can see, it's already looking inside of it for any items. So what does the Copper Golem actually do? So as you can see, it's obviously looking in all of these copper chests right here. And if you put in an item into the copper chest, so I'm going to put in a couple of blocks of copper, it should hopefully soon come back and look inside of this copper chest. No? Okay, it doesn't seem interested in this copper chest. I guess I'm going to have to move it. Oh, no, it's coming back. Okay, let's just put it back then. Okay, so it's looking inside of the copper chest, and as you can see, the copper blocks have now disappeared because they're actually in the hand of the Copper Golem. And he's just put them into this chest right here. So the Copper Golem's main functionality is that it can sort your items, which is a really fun and cool feature. So if all of your chests are empty, it will just dump whatever item it's been given into the first chest it comes across. But if I was to put a whole bunch of different items into these chests, and then put copper blocks inside of this chest, if I put the copper blocks back into the copper chest, it should go ahead and search it. And it will take those out and start searching all of the chests around it. It can search up to 10 chests, including double chests. And it will keep searching until it finds a chest that matches the item in its hand. So that's a way that you can control what items go in which chests. So the Copper Golem is basically an all-natural, redstoneless item sorting system that's a lot more simple than the redstone version. So just like all the other copper blocks, the Copper Golem will actually oxidize over time, and when it gets to that blue stage, it will turn into a copper statue, which you could use as a decoration in your world. So I'm going to leave this guy out here now to oxidize, and hopefully he'll turn into a statue by the end of the video, and we can check out what those look like. But that is it for the copper section of this update. There is just one more feature I have to share with you guys, and that is the shelf. So I'm going to quickly get one crafted up now, and then we can check out what those do. So to craft up a shelf, all you need is 6 stripped log blocks. So let's get all of these stripped right now. And as you can see, we've unlocked the shelf recipe. And all you got to do is put 3 stripped log blocks in the bottom and 3 stripped log blocks in the top, and you'll get yourself 6 shelves of whatever wood type you used. So now we've got those crafted, let's place them down. So this is what the shelf looks like. As you can see, it looks like there's 3 slots on the shelf, and that's because you can actually put items inside of the shelf. So it is a bit like an item frame, except you can store 3 things in the shelf at once. But unlike the item frame, you can actually store a whole stack of items inside of the shelf. So as you can see, I put a whole stack of spruce planks into that one slot of the shelf. And if we take it back out again, of course, we get the whole stack. So you're probably wondering why I've got 3 shelves in a line like this and a couple of levers underneath them. I've moved the shelf up to make it look a little bit nicer. And that's because you can actually power the shelf, just like this, and as you can see, the gaps between the slots have disappeared, and it now looks like one long connected shelf. And with just one click, you can put your entire hotbar into the shelf. And then if I was to grab a completely different set of items in my hotbar, you could swap out your hotbars. So this will probably be really useful for mini games and just building in general. These look really cool. These look like a lot better way to display your items than the regular item frames. And also this could help with inventory management, because you could have a completely different block set in the shelf that you can swap out at any time when you're building. So yeah, I think the shelf is a really cool feature, and it's going to be great to see it in both building and in its practical use. I'm probably going to use it more for building though, because that's just what I like to do in Minecraft. But anyway, that is just about everything that was added in this Copper Age drop. So that is just about everything that was added in the Copper Age game drop. And I think I could go as far as to say that copper is now officially somewhat useful. As you know, people have said that copper has been pretty useless since it came out in the 1.17 update. So now we're taking a look at the update, let's use some of the features to build a new storage area that uses the copper golems to sort out our items. I've got a really nice build plan that will fit in really well with the area we created, and it will help us to start work on a village that we're going to live in for this series. So I'm going to get all the resources I need for the build, and I'll see you guys in a second. So we're back now, and we should have everything we need inside of these shulker boxes right here to begin work on our storage building. I think I'm going to build it right here overlooking the water, which means we will have to say goodbye to this villager house right here and do a little bit of terraforming work just here, but that should be a quick fix, so let's not waste any more time, cue the music and let's get straight to building. And with that, our storage building is officially complete, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'd love to hear your feedback on it down in the comments. But anyway, let's head inside and check out the interior. So for the inside, I've gone for a sort of tavern with a bar and tables where the people who live in the village can go to enjoy a nice drink of water from these barrels right here. And if we head upstairs, as you could probably tell from the noise, this is where our copper golems are going to be sorting out our items. So I've actually got 2 rooms in here, each with 5 copper golems and 10 chests, because copper golems can only look at 10 chests at a time. So I've split them up here into rooms of 10, so they're sorting into the maximum amount of chests that they can possibly sort into. And it's just the same with a slightly different layout in this room right here. So they're not sorting anything at the moment, but between episodes I'm going to move over my items into this storage room and figure out what each chest will be sorting. And I'll add some finishing touches to the terrain around the build to make it look just a little bit nicer. But that is just about it for this build right here. I hope you liked it as much as I do. But before we end today's episode, let's go and take a look at all the copper blocks that we placed at the start to see if they've oxidized. So it doesn't look like they've oxidized a huge amount. The lightning rods have ended up on the 3rd stage of oxidation. But as for the rest of the blocks, they've only oxidized 1 or 2 levels, and the copper golem hasn't even oxidized at all. But it's probably because I've placed them quite close together, and they need to be about 4 or 5 blocks apart for them to oxidize quicker. But maybe I'll leave these out in between episodes to see if they oxidize any more, while we add some finishing touches to our tavern build over there. But that is just about going to wrap it up for this episode. We got a lot done today, and I'm glad we're finally starting work on the village. I've got some great plans, so hopefully it will turn out really good. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, that'd be greatly appreciated. Check out the hardcore playlist if you haven't already seen the first 5 episodes, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of this series. But anyway guys, my name is OrangeNinja, thank you so much for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.